Hello. So I'm here with Pi here. Pi is one of the best clients I've ever worked with. He is very, very committed to everything that he has done, and we had a very good journey together. One of the very highlights of like since I've started Streamline was Pi, and just wanted to sit down and I suppose take ask some questions to talk Pi through his journey. So I suppose Pi, let's start it off, right? Like where were you before we started? Like what was a normal day for you?
Thanks, Nick. So basically, my normal day is office heavy. So I work in marketing and I work for a Singapore company. So when you put the two together, my days can pretty much be 10 plus hours in an office. Not have really much time for lunch breaks or anything like that. So I would constantly be at my desk, and then I'll be driving home, then I work some more when I get home, right? So sometimes I can be working sitting down for an extended period of time most of the day. No exercise whatsoever because I told myself I'm too busy. Work is too busy. So I'm just gonna skip the gym, skip whatever. It's too dark, it's too cold. All the excuses in the world. So my days were pretty much that, and you know, one day roll into the next, and before you know it, it's got fat.
Yeah. Did you catch yourself almost in like a bit of a realization moment where you were like, don't recognize yourself, like what's happened, how have I got here?
Yeah, 100%. Like look in the mirror. There's a point in time where it's okay. I can still can't get away with it, and then it gets to a point where you just like nah, okay, you're now too big. Or in my case, like my clothes starting to get too tight. I come from an Asian family, so sometimes they love it. They say with love, but they say you're getting fat. Having people around you telling you things like that means like it's a wake up call. And it's like, okay, maybe it is time that I need to look at that. And it's just the physical change, the emotional part too. Having, being not active, feel low energy most of the time, and just not great.
Did you think it was possible, I suppose, to change? Or were you kind of in a mindset where you were accepting where you were because of work, because of everything else?
I think to a point it was an excuse that blame work. That I know that I come from a background where I previously done a lot of exercise before. I wasn't like super fit, but I was control. Like I know what I needed to do. I can do my meals count. I can do the exercise. I done all that in the past, but then it's kind of a combination of lack of motivation, but also I know that what I needed to do, but lack of accountability. That's the big one. Like no one's telling me, do this, or you can do this, do that. It's just lack of motivation. I think pretty much.
I suppose on that point then as well, like did you try something that maybe didn't work before you reached out, like in between where you had a realization between like where we started working together?
Yeah, and right, look, I joined. Well, at one point I had two gym memberships, like in two different
Doing
locations.
it all.
Like, and then I thought, okay, the skill was I don't have time to go after work. I joined a gym near my work. Well, I didn't go to that one. Then I thought, oh, I'll do it on the way home. I didn't go to that one either. So at one point I had two gym memberships, and I still don't go to any of them. So definitely, the lack of accountability. That's the big one. Like, no one guiding you, no one checking in on you, or more importantly, like you don't know if you're doing or progressing the way you should. That lack of direction was the big one.
So going back to you,
Yeah.
what now what made you finally reach out? I suppose like what was the big thing?
Well, look, I mean, I obviously in my world of marketing, I'm constantly on social media, right? So I've been following a bunch of content producers on, healthy lifestyle, fitness, like aspirational stuff. Obviously, you came up on the feed at some point, and I think I started following your contents a few months before I even reach out. I know that one at the time, I was like, oh yeah, swimming, because for some reason I started that I want to do swimming, and I saw your content on swimming. Then I thought, okay, well, let's start following you and then see what you say, what you need to do to kind of like, rather than just swimming aimlessly, they need to be a bit of structure to it. And I think one at the time you put something on your story about like if you need support or something like that, and I kind of respond yes to the poll, and yeah, you DM me, and then we went from there.
Were you hesitant at all, or was it like, you know what? I mean, from my memory, I think when we first chatted, you were like, "Let's just do this. Like, I need to change. I'm gonna bite the bullet and do it."
It was a point where I think it was leading up to my vacation that my motivation at that time was I want to surprise my family and by rocking up with a new haha surprise, I lost weight, that kind of like that's the goal, vanity purpose,
I
right?
mean, and
Pure and
and
simple.
jumping forward, I mean, you did surprise your family, and that
I
was
did.
the outcome, wasn't it?
Well, they did kind of worked out in the end that you've been exercise, haven't you? Like, I haven't posted anything. I refuse to put any pictures down. Apart from one time, I think I put a story up and they saw it. I said, ah, kind of ruined the surprise a little. But no, they were pleasantly surprised. But yes, to your point, it wasn't a vanity exercise for me. Like, I want to make sure that I look different. The byproduct being that, of course, all these lifestyle change, the habits and all that came along with it, which was great.
And I,
But
I
at that
suppose
point,
on that point then as well, like walk me through what we actually did. Like what lifestyle change, what were the
yeah,
habits and everything that we did? Like, why don't you walk me through that?
yeah. So basically, you had a long chat with me at the start on what's my goals, what my challenges were, and more importantly, how we can work together. So then you did a pretty simple outline for me that I can follow. I know I was pretty, in my words anyway, not yours, I was a difficult kid. I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't like doing that. So you're gonna have to work with that. I know one of the challenge I put forward was that I can't change my dinner plan because my family cooked the food, and coming from a Thai background, our food is really not good. Tastes wonderful, bad for your health. So I told you that I can't change that. It's not something I can do, but you work around it, right? So you guided me through the day to day, from how do I eat in the morning to the midday. I know that I constantly check in and say, I'm hungry. It's like, can I have something else instead?
Hey, I miss your text. Say, I remember like even the supermarket ones were the best. Was like, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Yeah, can I have this cake? Even though I know it's not meant to, but
Like
which was
when the
great.
when the trolley came around for your lunch, you're like, what about this? This one looks good.
Yes, that's right. I work in hotels, so for those that not familiar, we get all the bad stuff get sent to your office, like croissant, cake, all that. The temptation, the devil, he was there, but you know, you guide me through it and say, no, go have an apple instead. Okay, okay, fine, I'll have an apple. That was great.
What
Yeah,
about what
that's
about
the main thing.
what about the workout side of things? Like, what do we do from the workout side of things?
Yeah, the workout was not too difficult, in my opinion. It wasn't something that I haven't done before, and in my previous, you know, exercise and routines, I know what I needed to do, but it wasn't more the that. It was more the checking in, logging in the workout itself, because I'm one of those that, oh no, if I don't log it in, he's gonna see that I haven't done the workout. That accountability part, right? For me, that's more important. You guided through, I think it was 2 days of gym and 1 day of swimming at the start, and then
I
one
think
day
so.
of
Yeah.
just cardio.
Yeah.
Because I told you at that time is that I want to start playing golf more regularly. So it was a golf day in my routine, which was great, by the way. Um, yeah, so it wasn't too difficult. It was 4 days, I think, of actual exercise. The rest was just more eating properly, which was harder than it should be.
Yeah, and I suppose like we talked about at the very start of this call that you used to be in a mindset of I'm too busy. I'm working these 10-hour days. Like I can't do it. So like, do you think that the accountability aspect was probably the biggest change that made that mind shift switch?
100% for me, it's the if I don't do it, I can't lie to someone else. Like that. Sorry, what I'm trying to say. If I have no one to check in, I can kind of say, no one would know if I had that piece of cake. But then because I have to tell you. And the other factor then start being the fact that each week you start submitting your weight. And
Mm-hmm.
if your weight doesn't go backward, in my head it's like I obviously I know that I probably shouldn't have that snack instead. That's why
Yeah.
my weight hasn't gone down. So the numbers don't lie. The numbers are actually
No.
your KPI almost, like in my world, like, for me it's a challenge. Every
Yeah,
check-in, it
100%.
needs to go down.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, like I think that was a big thing that we focused on because you really wanted to be at a certain weight. I think like when you cracked 90 kgs from the first memory, it was a big thing for you because you hadn't been below 90 in quite a long time. So like where was your weight roughly when you started compared to like when you finished?
Yeah, well, at the start it was 93, which is the heaviest I ever been in my life. And I said, like, look, that's not good. My goal was to get down to 79. In the space of, what did it end up being? I can't remember now. 3 something. The length
About
of
four
time.
months, I think.
4 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was the goal, which was the day I fly out. Funny enough, because it worked out to be that it's when I go on my holiday. That's when I
yeah.
started the
That's
program.
right.
So it was like, okay, I can celebrate now. I landed it, and then I can eat.
Exactly. I suppose apart from the weight, like how else did your life change? Like confidence, energy level, sleep, like that kind of stuff. Like what was the biggest changes that you felt from a day-to-day perspective?
Look, the daily compliments was amazing, right? People physically noted the physical changes, from not just at the end, but through your journey. Because obviously I work in the office, so therefore I see these people 5 days a week, and they see the notable changes, like from week 1 versus week 4, week 8, and they're like, oh wow, you look different. So that social element was one. The other is like, I just feel less heavy, not so, you know loaded on my joints, so my knees and my back wasn't hurting as much. Still do from office problems, but that's all different matters.
Much
um
much better though, I hope. Much
Much
better.
better, much better. And the more important for me was the wearing my work clothes, and I look like normal now, rather than everything was just bulging, right? Which wasn't great.
Yeah, and I suppose like why is that why was that important to you? Like was it kind of at a moment where I suppose you didn't have a lot of confidence and you didn't like the clothes being too tight, you weren't comfortable like from a career perspective? Like why was that the important part of it?
Yeah, well, because I work in a sector that's two things, right? Marketing and also hospitality. So my role deals with a lot of people, like professional level versus and colleague level as well. So physical appearance is important to me, and to a point where you want to make sure that you don't look un- not I wouldn't say unprofessional, like unkept. For me, that's important. Like to make sure that everything looks as good as it can be. For me, that's including my physical looks. So that's important.
So do you think that like would do you think that this actually helped your career at the same time as obviously helping your own kind of lifestyle?
I don't know if it helps my career, but I know it positively impacted it, like in a way that people speaks to you about, like, wow, what do you do differently and stuff like that, and they get to a conversation started. That's another big one, and then you can start telling them about what I did and stuff like that. And for me, I believe that people in general, you know, they judge people based on what they see too.
Yeah.
Not always, obviously that's not saying that's the most important, but we all do. We make
You're right.
opinions
I mean
based
like
on what we see,
looks
right?
is important, right?
Looks is important. 100%.
And it's one of those things that I think like especially like we work through where that shouldn't be the most important thing in the world, but at the end of the day, everyone wants to look good. And
A
obviously, as that
creature of
weight came
habit.
off, and you got more confident, like I can imagine that made you feel a lot better. Let's just say.
It did, and it still does, right? For me, it's a definite shift in confidence, and and then make me realize that it's just a simple things that I can do to achieve that. You don't need to do a lot. You just exercise, you eat healthy, all that can come.
Exactly. And I suppose like if you look back now, like did you wish that you started this 12 months earlier?
Uh it probably, for me, it's more the point of that's mindset shift. 12 months ago would have been great, But I think maybe 12 months before when I start, I wouldn't have quite get to the point where I feel that I needed that changed. So maybe my commitment would not have been as committed, maybe. But I know that I was ready for that shift at that point in time. So of course, the earlier you do it, the better. And it's a lifestyle change. That's not
Yeah.
gonna be just a few months and then it disappear. It's a change. That's the point.
Yeah.
You now change.
Exactly. 100%. And I suppose if someone was sitting in your seat, like when you started, what would you tell them? Would you tell them just to go and do it? Would you tell them just to, it's worth it? Like, what would you say?
I would say don't overthink it. Right? It's definitely not a, a something that you gonna get hurt by it. You're not gonna be impacted negatively by it. Everything that will come out from it is positive. You definitely will be surprised, and I was surprised by the fact that it wasn't difficult. It wasn't like, oh my god, Nick's asking me to give up everything. That means I have no social life. I have no that. No, you didn't. You just tell me to watch what I eat.
Yeah.
When
I
I
think
have a
like
social
honestly, I think
life.
one of the biggest things, and I say this to other clients, is you never gave up your family dinners once. And
No,
I think that was
never
really cool.
once.
Like you always got to sit there, have dinner with your family every single night. And obviously we just adjusted everything else in the program to make sure that you did lose that weight and then keep it off. So I think like that's really, really cool to actually hear that as well.
100%. And just to give a bit of funny context, just for to throw it in there, I went to a bar with a friend, and I was obviously having a one drink, which I allowed myself. But I was like, okay, instead of having a bowl of chips, I'm just gonna order a bowl of vegetables, and it's actual vegetables that arrived: lettuce, carrots, and beetroots. And I was eating fresh vegetables at the bar.
I love it. That's
And I was like,
hilarious.
okay, I can still have a social life. And I'm
Yeah.
going out. It wasn't like I'm eating at home. I'm just eating fresh vegetables being served at the bar. It can be
With
done
a glass of wine as well.
with a glass of wine. I'm still having fun. I was laughing my head off, talking to my friends. Look at what I'm doing right now. I'm having vegetables. And they were like, what is wrong with you? But it's like, why not? It's healthy.
Exactly. I love it.
For
I
those
love
that,
it.
considering, oh, this is going to change my life, I'm going to be miserable. No, I actually make it more fun from it.
That's amazing. Brilliant.
Hmm.
Well, thank you very much for your time. And I can't
Wow.
wait to obviously continue speaking.
Thanks, Nick.